This is the most disturbing story you will hear all week. A short story. The message that shouldn't exist. This is a story about a conversation with someone who shouldn't exist. It's about a string of messages from a contact who was never online, and a watcher who was closer than you could ever imagine. We're about to follow a descent into paranoia from two perspectives: the woman being watched and the one pulling the strings from inside her own house. Picture this. You're finally alone in your new home. It's the one place in the world you're supposed to feel safe. And then your phone buzzes. Welcome to Sleepy Echoes Unwind, where the night remembers. Light your lantern, slow your breathing, and drift into the hush. Chapter 1. The First Message. Christian absolutely loved the house. It was an old two-story Victorian, the kind with real character, a history she could almost feel humming in the walls. It had its quirks, of course: a floorboard on the second-floor landing that groaned like a tired old man, a draft in the living room she could never quite find. But she thought of these as charms, the sounds of an old home settling, breathing around her. She'd spent the first full week unpacking, turning empty rooms into a home. On the 8th day, right after she hung the last picture frame, she collapsed onto her sofa. She was wearing a comfy, oversized lavender sweater she'd bought for lazy days, just like this one. And that's when her phone lit up. The message was from a contact with no name, no number. All it said was, offline. A ghost in her phone. The message itself was just 6 words. That's a nice color on you. Christian frowned. She read it again. A wrong number. Had to be. Some guy texting his girlfriend. Still, a weird shiver traced a line down her spine. It was just a coincidence. A total coincidence that she was wearing a brand new sweater and this message just happened to show up. She tossed the phone onto the cushion next to her, pulled a blanket over her legs, and tried to forget it. The house groaned, and she smiled, just settling. But it wasn't the house. It was me. She has no idea how long I've been watching, how long I've been a part of the house's quiet chorus of sounds. She hears the creaks and groans and thinks it's just old wood. But that's me, shifting my weight in the crawl space. That groan on the second-floor landing isn't a floorboard. It's the door to my world, the one she walks past a dozen times a day. I sent the first message today. I've been watching her through the vents, learning her rhythms, her habits. I saw her unbox that sweater yesterday. I knew she'd wear it. It just felt like the right time. A little nudge, a ripple in her quiet pond to let her know I'm here. She looked confused, then brushed it off. It was perfect. She has no idea that when she's listening to the house, she's really listening to me. Chapter 2. Proof you're not alone. A week went by. Then another message came. Christian was getting ready for bed, walking through the house, turning off all the lights. As her hand left the switch in the hallway, her phone buzzed from the nightstand. From offline. You left the hall light on. Her blood ran cold. She spun around. The hallway was completely dark. She knew she'd just turned it off. She hadn't imagined it. Had she? Her heart hammered as she walked back to the switch, flicking it on and off. It worked fine. She backed away slowly, her eyes darting into the shadows of her own home. She ran to her phone, but there was no number to call, no contact to block. The message just sat there. A message from nowhere. From where I was, it was a beautiful sight. I saw her through the small hole I drilled in the baseboard behind her dresser, the little flicker of fear in her eyes, the way her breath hitched. I'd sent the message a split second before her hand even left the switch. timing it perfectly from the attic space right above her. It's all about timing. It's all about control. After that, things started to stack up. Small things, at first. The thermostat would be a degree or two lower than she'd set it, and she'd wake up shivering. A book she'd left on the coffee table would be sitting on the kitchen counter the next morning. She started taking pictures of things before she left the house, just to prove to herself she wasn't going crazy. The front door was locked. The windows were secure. No one was getting in. She tried to explain it to her friend Sarah over the phone. "I'm telling you, someone is messing with me, or I'm losing my mind." "You've just moved, Christian," Sarah said, her voice dripping with reason. "It's a stressful time. You're just not used to the new place. Old houses make noises." But it wasn't just noises anymore. Last night, I turned her thermostat down. Just 1 degree. Enough to make her shiver in her sleep. I watch her on the phone, her face frantic and desperate. Her friends tell her she's just stressed. They tell her she's tired. They have no idea how right they are. I'm the one making her tired. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. Christian had a horrible day at work. She came home exhausted, dropped her keys and bag on the entryway table. When she walked into the kitchen, she stopped dead. On the counter, next to the kettle, sat her favorite mug. Steam was rising from it, a freshly made cup of tea. Chamomile, her favorite, the kind she drank when she was stressed. And she hadn't made it. She backed away from the counter like it was a snake. Adrenaline flooded her system. Someone was in the house, right now. She didn't scream, didn't make a sound. She just backed out of the kitchen, grabbed her keys, and ran out the front door. She didn't stop until she was in her car with the doors locked, fumbling to call the police. As she waited for them to answer, her phone buzzed. A message from offline. "Thought you could use this. You looked tired this morning." The police were unhelpful. 2 officers walked through the house with their flashlights. No signs of a break-in. Nothing stolen. Nothing was out of place, except for a now cold cup of tea. One of the cops, a man with a tired face, suggested it was a friend playing a prank. "Do you have an ex? Anyone who might have a spare key you forgot about?" he asked. Christian just shook her head, a new kind of despair washing over her. They didn't believe her. To them, she was just another hysterical woman. They walked right past my door. The police. I heard their heavy boots on the floorboards right above me, their voices muffled but clear. I was in the walled-off section of the basement, my own little kingdom. I listened as they questioned her, patronized her. One of the officer's boots was inches from the hidden seam of my door. He had no clue. They think they're protecting her from a threat that's outside. But I'm not outside. I've never been outside. I'm part of the foundation. Chapter 3. He was inside the house. When the police left, the house fell into a deep, terrifying silence. Christian was alone again, but now she knew, with absolute certainty, that she wasn't. The fear was no longer a suspicion. Her mind raced. The cops were no help. Her friends thought she was crazy. She was completely on her own. So she started to think, not about the messages, but about the house itself. The quirks, the drafts, the groans. She remembered something the old owner had said when she bought it, a story about an old coal chute in the basement that was sealed off during a renovation back in the 70s. A cold, hard resolve settled in her gut. She wasn't going to run. This was her home. She went to the garage and found an old crowbar. It felt heavy and solid in her hands. As she walked toward the basement door, her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out, her hand trembling. "Don't go down to the basement." She stared at the message. Then, she switched the phone off, shoved it in her back pocket, opened the basement door, and walked down into the damp, musty air. She found it behind a stack of old paint cans, a section of the stone wall that just didn't quite match. The mortar looked newer. She wedged the tip of the crowbar into a thin crack and pushed. It's the first time she's ever defied me. I watched her on the tiny black and white monitor, the feed from the pinhole camera I'd hidden in the basement's smoke detector. I saw the determination on her face. I sent the message, a direct order, a warning. I thought it would stop her. It always had. But she just turned her phone off. She was coming. I heard the scrape of the crowbar, the first crack of plaster. My heart hammered in my chest, a wild, exhilarating terror. She was finally coming to see me. Christian heaved the crowbar. A chunk of the wall gave way, revealing not solid stone, but a dark, hollow space. She pulled again, and a whole section of the false wall crumbled, revealing a small, cramped room. The smell hit her first. Stale air, sweat, and something clinical. The room was lit by the eerie glow of several small monitors, all displaying grainy black and white images of her own home. Her bedroom, her kitchen, her living room. And sitting on a small cot in the middle of it all was a man. He was thin and pale. He looked up at her, and his eyes held not anger, but a look of profound, chilling disappointment. In his hand, he held a simple black burner phone. He was just sitting there, watching her, as he always had. The conclusion: you can move, but it doesn't leave. The police came back. This time, they believed her. He wasn't a stranger. He'd worked on the house years ago, found the hidden space, built an entrance, and waited. Months, living inside her walls, watching. Christian sold the house immediately. New city, 10th floor apartment, security, silence. Finally, she felt safe. For a while. Then, 3 weeks ago, her phone buzzed. No number, just 2 words. Nice view. Some things don't stay behind.